That's it? Where's the game? Where's the fucking game? Welcome to a special episode and true final episode of Season 1 of the obscure game Faceoff. This special episode of the season will only have me very briefly review 8 games that didn't quite make the main episode cut. We'll start with 2 games that I tested out just to try out the itch.io randomizer, then the rest of the 6 games are either games I skipped during my live recording for being a test or prototype game, or skipped because they didn't work during the time of me recording the main episodes. Let's begin with the games I tried while testing the itch.io randomizer. Cyberpunk Magical Girls is a visual novel submitted for a month-long visual novel game jam known as NaNoRenO 2021. The devs of this game were apparently also high while making the game, which explains quite a bit actually. Alright, I'm going to do something a bit different here. As per request of the game's title screen of wanting me to just play the fucking game, I will be doing just that and showing any noteworthy parts of the game to you guys. Let's begin! Alright, so we're a character known as Sammy being woken up by a character called Killa for a job. Alright? Okay, cool. Now we're in Killa's van and we meet a mute friend who talks in sign language called Fuyu. Alright, apparently we have a bounty job to kill a kaiju thing. This sure is a pretty long intro. Maybe once we reach the location of the kaiju we finally begin playing the game. Alright, we're in the building and the game hasn't begun. I'm honestly starting to lose hope here. Alright, we're about to fight the kaiju. We found it and we're about to fight it. Oh, wait! Are those RPG elements? Is this finally the start of the game? Oh my god, I'm so excited! What is this? Why is the mute character talking? Oh, okay. Is the game actually going to start now? Wait, what? The fuck? That's it? Where's the game? Where's the fucking game? I feel like I just got scammed out of my time. That was the whole thing? Really? Okay, let's just review this novel that is clearly not a game. Besides the pictures of the girls and maybe the kaiju, which I assume are original and fine for the most part, I couldn't really say anything else positive about this project. There was just absolutely no gameplay, a nothing burger story and plot, choices in the story that didn't even matter. It just felt like I wasted my time. I guess it was just a short visual novel trying to show us a day in the life of these quirky, alcoholic bounty hunters, and that's about it. This may sound very harsh, but I'm just gonna straight up rate this a 0, because it's simply not a game and wasn't even a good visual novel. No different outcomes, no interactivity. It was just a nothing burger. Let's move on to our next game. Am I a Bug is a game made for a 46-hour game jam known as the Backtrace Game Jam 3. And yes, you may have noticed that for the second time this season, I am using the term game very loosely here. The best way I can attempt to summarize this game is a programmer questioning their reality and slowly going insane after being unable to fix a bug in his program. That honestly hits a bit too close to home for me. Anyway, the bug manifests into sheep that show up into his room, making the programmer question his reality. While the narrative of the game is a somewhat unique twist of a relatable experience as a programmer, the gameplay itself is literally just waiting for dialogue and going left and right, over and over, which is why I barely call it a game in the first place. There's also quite a lot of bugs for a game where you just wait for dialogue and go left and right. A lack of animations in the character's legs while moving, which I will probably dismiss because the developer probably didn't have time to animate a character, which is totally fair. Another bug is the game just ending on a black screen after finishing the story, random teleports after cutscenes that disorient the player, and so on. Now, I know that these bugs could either be an intentional feature to drive home the point of the game, or the fact that the developer had 46 hours to program the game that made him focus more on the art than the game itself. Alright, let's get on to the review. In terms of graphics, I guess it's alright. There's a pretty good painting at the start of the game, and the sprites were alright as well. The gameplay, as mentioned before, was just us moving left and right while waiting for cutscenes, just the bare minimum of what makes a game a game. At least it wasn't as bad as the previous visual novel where there just wasn't any interactivity at all, but this is just a hair above that. So, with all that being said, I will be rating this a 1 out of 10, because it at least had a narrative and some good art direction for a game made in 46 hours. Now that we reviewed all the games I saw while testing the randomizer, let's head to the scrapped games from the main episode. Starting with... Right, we're just waiting for the laundry to wash. It's just us waiting for... Oh, that one's done! It's done! So now what? Okay, yep, it's blinking. See, the lights there are blinking. That means the laundry's done. Yep, that's the whole game. Wait, were you actually expecting more? That's all you get, pretty much. This is just a simple prototype of a laundromat simulator. Nothing more, nothing less. What? A review? For this? Alright, sure. I guess the only thing I find decent about this are the pixel graphics, but with the sounds being as non-existent as the gameplay, I'ma quickly give it a 0.2 out of 10. The more critical of you may be asking, why does this deserve anything more than a flat 0? Well, for me, there's two reasons. The first being that you can actually move around in an astonishing 4 directions, mind you, which is more than the previous 2 entries can offer. The last reason being that this game does what it intends to achieve. Alright, nothing else needs to be said about this super straightforward laundromat simulator. Let's move on to the next game. This is a prototype of a tactical turn-based game that I'd say is more complete than I initially thought. But sadly, I never tried winning yet because I keep getting my ass beat by the enemy's vastly superior units. There's actually quite a lot of potential for this prototype to become a good game, but then there's some mechanics that I don't really like only having a limited amount of units being able to move per rotation, and having a higher than 1 turn cooldown for each unit is quite annoying. But other than that, it's just a simple yet promising prototype of a turn-based game. Alright, on to my brief review. The graphic style of the game is good, though the game lacks sounds and is just a one test level that is nigh impossible to beat, so I can't rate it too high. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. Seasons was skipped because of being in development based on the game page. Well, turns out after giving the game a chance, it just turned out to be very likely a newbie developer's first ever platformer game. You control a rabbit, avoid predators, try to reach 5 burrows at the end of each level to beat the game. Very simple and straightforward stuff. There's a lot of things indicating that this game was made by a new game developer. From the extremely glitchy physics, the half-assed level design with tiles that aren't even filled properly, like floating dirt you see in the levels for example, the very bare-bone controls and enemy movement, and not to forget the lack of sounds. Despite the more inexperienced programming of the game, I see that the game artist has plenty of experience. I actually really like the graphics of the game, from the sprites, the backgrounds, to the beautifully hand-drawn cutscenes, all very well made. With all that being said, I'll give this game a 3.25 out of 10. For all its flaws and rough edges, it's still this episode's most fully fleshed out game so far. Let's see what the next game has to offer. This game broke when I was about to review it during my main episode recording. But well, it worked this time, but not without its issues. Only a tiny portion of the game shows up when you play it in the webpage until you zoom way in. I had to scale my webpage to 200% to play the game properly. It's nice that there's a how to play screen, but I feel like there's absolutely no point of it due to how simple the game is to play and beat. There's only 3 types of robots you use and only 3 types of enemies that spawn, all doing the same thing, making it really easy to find what robots win the game. Alright, so I found out that the best strat is actually spawning the big robots. I can't even see what phase I'm in, but having a wall of big robots, man, fucking OP. Look at the money, man. I just don't run out, and having 5 big robots is enough for survival. I can stay like this forever. Appears that the big robots is the best fucking strat. While I understand that the unbalanced and bare-bones nature of the game is because it's made for yet another game jam, this contest lasted for 10 days, but the developer only made use of 2 days, submitting it 7 days early, which is quite a shame. Alright, time to review the game. At the very least, I can tell that the graphics are handmade by the developer, good for them, but well, the graphics aren't that good, if I have to be extremely honest. Sounds are okay, but the gameplay, yeah, I've said enough about it, it's extremely boring, too bare bones, very exploitable. So overall, with all that being said, I will rate this a 2.25 out of 10. I kind of skipped this game during my main episode recording because it had the word testing in it, which was a mistake because this was actually a complete game. Despite this game being complete, it only has one level in it. This game also has the weirdest ending to a game that made me have to read the ending multiple times to vaguely understand it. Seems the robot has low battery, well, let the virus live. Will let the virus live, I guess is what it's trying to say. We had enough to see that the robot works. They didn't deserve to be the ones to be tested. What the fuck? Didn't we win? What was that story, man? I don't understand. What the fuck was that? Anyway, you control a virus cleaning robot who cleans viruses in a fridge with a combination of soap and water. You also have to avoid the virus's nasty attacks. The more soap you stack onto the viruses, the more powerful your water attack will become, which I think is a pretty nice mechanic of the game. All you need to do, of course, is survive, clear all the viruses within the time limit, and yes, there's a time limit. The time limit will go up, however, if you kill big viruses, which will spawn smaller viruses. And, well, after you kill all the big viruses and the small viruses, you beat the game. Alright, time for the review. I have to say, the graphics of the fridge and viruses actually look nice. The game's music and sounds were good as well, and most importantly of all, the gameplay was pretty fun and simple, albeit very bare bones with only one short level ending in a very confusing and half-assed way. Overall, I'm going to give the game a 4.5 out of 10. If only it had more levels with varied enemies, it has the potential to score a lot higher, but unfortunately, it doesn't. So that's as high as the score gets. Let's head to our final scrap game of the season, which I actually briefly showed in the episode itself. Dino Snack Fest was almost our last game of Season 1, but due to Godot not cooperating with me at the time, I have to thank the lucky stars that this wasn't the last game of Season 1. Here's why. Okay. Alright. That's the whole game. Good thing it didn't work that time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten Vessel Blue as our final game and just this. That would make for a very anticlimactic ending to the series. I feel like getting Vessel Blue and having this game break is the luckiest thing ever, honestly. Like, if this was our last game, I would be pretty sad. Well, you see the issue now. That's the whole game. Let's head on to the review, shall we? Graphics are fine, sounds are fine as well, though I feel like the sound for losing a life is a bit too loud. Okay, I lost one life there. As for the gameplay itself, you saw all there was to it. You just eat meat falling from the sky with absolutely no variety in the falling objects, and the worst part is the lack of difficulty scaling once again, making it very easy to survive forever after like 2 attempts. All in all, I'm just glad that this didn't end up being our final game of Season 1, and I will rate it a 2.3 out of 10. And well, that's it for all the scrap games of Season 1. Now you know why most of these are skipped. The only one I thought didn't deserve to be skipped was the testing robot game, but that's about it. Do you prefer these more brief reviews or more in-depth reviews like how they were reviewed in my actual episodes of Season 1? Let me know in the comments below, and I would love any more feedback for Season 2. If you liked the video, please feel free to like it, and see you in the next one!